You mentioned last night about potentially having a conversation about Peterson, Minaya. Have you had that at this point?
As far as that rotation goes, yeah, but nothing set here. There's a lot of different ways we could go with the off day. So, I'm pretty sure in the next 24 to 48 hours, we have a little bit more clarity there.
And any more clarity on Polanco when he might be able to go out?
The good thing is he started his rehab today, play a couple of at-bats. I think he's off tomorrow. Then the plan is for him to DH and hopefully get him back-to-back, 3 or 4 innings at first base. And now, once we get to that point, it's more like, all right, playing 7 innings on the field, going back-to-back, full 9 innings as DH. How is he going to feel the next day after he's, gets 4 or 5 at-bats and he's on the bases? Today he was able to get on base and run around a little bit. So now is how is he going to feel tomorrow, and then we'll go from there.
As he's done this and intensified, his baseball activities leading up to this, have those bad days become less frequent for him?
Yes, and he's to a point where he's not going to be 100%. But as he went through the intensity, the running the bases and the sprinting and all that, the next day it's like, hey, he's not getting any worse. I feel better. But the biggest thing that he wasn't getting any worse, and he was able to manage it, and it's like, I'm good to go now.
Yep.
Carlos, even when the team hasn't been hitting, the one thing you had going for you for a while was the rotation was holding you up, and you've had a stretch here where the starters haven't performed at that level. What's your concern about that, and just about where the rotation is right now?
You still believe on those guys, you feel good with the rotation. They're going through a stretch here where Nolan back-to-back outings. It hasn't gone his way, but you still trust those guys. You feel good with the guys that you have, and we got to help those guys get through it. But they've been pretty good for us in keeping us in games. So you can make a case, like the Nolan one, obviously Petey last night, but overall, they've done a good job for us.
And as far as Senga goes, I mean, obviously, when he's ready, he just goes back right into the rotation. Is that the?
We'll cross that bridge when we get there. He's scheduled a pitch tomorrow, and see what's next after that outing tomorrow. So.
Well. Hey, Carlos. One of the things that you were proud of, it seemed like, after that Yankee series was the fight that your team showed during that. Has that gone away like the last handful of days? Has that turned in the wrong direction in your view?
When you're not hitting the baseball, when you're not creating traffic, it could look that way. Every time you have action, every time you're dictating at bats and putting pressure on the defense and other teams, there's going to be energy, there's going to be, that fire, but when you're not producing much and you're not creating that traffic and quick inning, quick at bats, it's going to look that way. But we haven't lost anything, as far as like that go. Guys still showing up every day with the mentality of winning a baseball game, preparing, competing, and that's what we'll continue to do here.
Just that play from Peterson where he wasn't backing up yesterday, that sometimes could at least publicly fall on coaching staff, that kind of thing. Do you get any sense that your messaging is not getting through to your players, or your coaching staff's messaging is not getting through?
No, not at all. I mean, you hate to see it, obviously. It can't happen. It can't happen, especially at this level. That's something that physical mistakes are going to happen, but mental mistakes, especially when you're not playing well. But as far as the messaging, from my end, I know for sure in the coaching staff and the way we hold people accountable, it doesn't necessarily have to be in front of the camera. So, but as far as the messaging is received, there's not concerns there.
What is reinforcing that? That it is received, that it is being received?
What is reinforcing? I mean, it's everything behind the scenes, but until we go out there and do it and play better, for me to say something here is, we got to go out and do it.
You have a lot of veterans on this team who kind of know how hard it is to come back when you're in the position you're in and know who you don't have and stuff like that. How do you kind of convince people that know what they're doing to kind of keep believing in something when it seems like so many things are going wrong? Is that a hard thing to do?
I don't think convincing people that what we're doing, because obviously we're not getting the results. But at the same time, you're not going to sit here and, okay, I'm going to convince you because, we're missing this many pieces, or no. I mean, you still go, you trust the 26 players that you got in that locker room. You show up, you prepare, you work, and you go out and compete. But I think they know. A lot of players, you mentioned a lot of veterans there that been through situations like this before, including myself, and we found ways to get out of it. And I'm confident that we will turn this thing around here.
Carlos, two things for you. First, Bo Bichette. I think he has 5 hits the last 3 games, hits in 8 of the last 10 games. You seen anything different in his at-bats that's telling you maybe he's finally turning a corner?
So better. I've seen better at bats for a while now. I think now those line drives, those ground balls are found in holes. I'm going to go back to that series in D.C. With the way he drove the baseball. Homer, right center. Homer, pull side. I think it was a game in Miami where we didn't hit, and there was a couple of at-bats from him that there was hard contact. I mean, he's a good hitter. I've been saying it that at the end of the year, the numbers are going to be there, and that's what we're seeing for the past couple of weeks here.
And then back to Peterson for a sec. I think you said last night there was going to be a conversation with him about backing up that play. Did you have that conversation? How receptive was he, or what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I'm going to keep things in-house. The fact that you guys don't see it in front of the cameras, that doesn't mean, like, it was addressed, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Well,
So why go with Brazoban instead of just having Tong start today? Why was Brazoban the better option to be?
Yeah, continue to find matchups, continue to use the opener. Brazoban's been very good in any role. Have him face the top of the lineup that first time through, and then see how the game develops, and we'll piece it together for the rest of the way.
Howie.
Speaking of which, you had Brazoban throwing around the 4th inning, I think it was last night, 4th or 5th. Was that just designed to get out of that inning?
Yes, yeah, I needed someone to get hot quickly there.
So whether he got in for that 1 or 2 batters, whatever it would have been, he was still going to be the opener tonight, or was that still to be decided?
We needed to get through the game last night and then make that decision. Once we didn't use him, it was a little bit easier. But even if he got on that game, he was going to be probably 1 or 2 out that we were asking. You were, down. You were trailing. I think it was 5 at the time before you get, Sean in the game there, giving him more time. But he wasn't going to take him out of the game today after 1 out or 2.
Mike.
Carlos, just back a little bit to Brazoban as the opener tonight. When you've done it with Peterson, Peterson pitched out of the bullpen plenty in his big league career or whatever, but Tong, less so, especially, at this level, his experience led you. Was there any, conversation with him about that or thoughts about,
Conversation with Jonah?
Yeah, or how he would handle that adjustment to that, any reservations about doing it that way?
Now, this is something that we started doing with them back to last year when they were in the minor leagues, just to prepare them for potential scenarios here at the big league level. We did it last weekend in Miami, where I think we pitched 2 guys before we went to him. So it went Brazo, Manaya, and then went Jonah. So I think the biggest thing is making sure we give him enough time to go through his routine, go through all his warm-ups and all that in the bullpen before we put him in the game. But he's handled it fine.